Okay, so this is kind of like take two. I was just talking for, I want to say about 10 minutes and my mic was not picking up any of the sound, which bless all of you who just like sat through that. I mean, the thing that my guides always tell me, which is this is unbelievably funny. My guides always tell me that it is literally my frequency, that I could just be saying anything. Not that I would just say anything. I'm obviously very like conscious of my speech, and I love language, and I love like words and, poems. And I'm a very like artistic person who cares deeply about the words I share. But my guides always remind me that at the end of the day, it's literally the frequency, the energies that I channel, which is the root of what makes each of you feel, right? That light, that love, that feeling of just being completely held by source when people are near me. And that is something that I've possessed since I was little. So it's really funny that I just went through this like long thing where I walked through all of the different energies that I channel. Yeah, and here we are, and all you guys could see was my mouth moving, my hands, I call my hands my finger wands. I was doing a lot of like when I do this. So it's funny that that Paula, you said that my hands had you very intrigued, because I call my hands my finger wands. And they're such a big part of how I do energy work, right? How I like recalibrate the energy. And even though this is technically not like a live healing, right? I'm always moving energy. I'm always recalibrating myself, recalibrating everything around me so that I am moving in perfect tune, right? Perfect harmony, as much as possible, as much as we can do that in our human form, with right my highest vibration, my highest timeline, and all life everywhere. So for those of you who are new to what I'm up to, my name is Andrea Donnelly. I am a cosmic guide, a cosmic wealth activator, a spiritual advisor, a healer. I have a lot of different ways that I move with and for all of you. If you have found your way into my world, whether this is the first time you're tuning in, or if you have been in my world for a while, I do all kinds of different things. And ultimately, at the end of the day, my mission, my purpose is to be a crystal clear channel for my guides who are cosmic guardians, called the Divine Order of Light. The energies that they are comprised of, at this point, when I started this business a couple of years ago, I used to like try to call out all the different kinds of energy that I channeled, and then that became just like too verbose and like just too much, too wordy. So I just started saying I channel all the good vibes. But since it is the Lion's Gate portal today, and there's something about just like, the vibration of love coming through me, right? This like sense of courage and justice and restoration of order, a call to embody. I just had right before this, I had a group call. I'm doing a 5-week journey called the Embodied Leader. It was so amazing. I activated another pillar of New Earth leadership. It was really, really cool. So I've been like thinking a lot about those energies. And yeah, my guides, my soul family who are here with me to really guide this mission are, like I said, all the good vibes. The plant realm, the animal realm, the fairy realm, the archangels. I specifically channel the archangel of music, Sandalphon, the archangel of speed, or Metatron. One of my first coaches who was just a total angel who really helped me understand the enormity of what I was doing, used to always say that I possessed a kind of like speed codes that were different than anything she had ever witnessed. And so that is what I'm up to. I channel also the ancestral realms, a lot of different galactic energies, right? A lot of the energies that I channel are Arcturian and Pleiadian, and from all over the cosmos, so many different kinds of galactic energy. Right now, right, with the Lion's Gate, that's the Sirius energy, is part of what sort of conspires to work within for us when we are in this like portal of 8-8 with the Lion's Gate. Those mystery schools, that sense of just like going so deep into literally the mystery of creation. So those are some of the energies that I channel, and I wanted today specifically to just really lean into what I have seen popping up in the collective in the past couple days, what I see happening as we move through the coming weeks, the rest of this year and beyond. Does anyone feel like they've noticed any, like anything specific, any big like patterns, anything like playing out in your own life? If you are catching me live, if you want to share anything that's been like popping up for you. But the big theme, right? We know even just the word lion, when you hear that, because so much of the energy that I activate is related to this sense of restorative justice and courage. The lion is such a powerful form of that medicine, right? That strength, that courage, that authenticity. And that is such a big part of what we are all being called right now to lean into. So a couple of things. One, I've definitely seen with my clients, with really everyone, right? Because like one of the things I'm doing is I'm like very interested in like I am able to tap into the collective energies, really like participate in a very deep level of pattern recognition in terms of what I see both with my clients, with my friends and family, with the world, with everyone around me, with my community. And there's a lot going on right now. Okay. So there's just be aware of the fact that there's a lot happening. And one of the things that I am being shown to really lean into for all of you, for everyone in this moment, is to just be so gentle with yourself. We are in the middle of some really powerful, really profound, very beautiful opportunities to meet ourselves in a new place. And I talked about this a couple of weeks ago I had a live healing event called Glow All the Way Up. And I was likening, right, the act of co-creation, of manifestation, to the experience of having a house, a beautiful house, but your house is somehow all of a sudden full of tons of things that you don't want anymore, that don't resonate with you, things that you've inherited from family members, things that you got, a couple of years ago when maybe your finances were different or you were not the person that you are now. And in order to make room for all the things that you want in your life, you have to clear out all of the energetic and physical debris to make room for the things that do resonate, right? If the only spot in your house that you can put a couch in has a dusty old couch that no longer meets you, isn't comfortable, just isn't like the vibe, maybe the color is not the right thing. You have to clear out all of that stuff in order to make room for what you want. And when we make bold declarations to the universe, right? When we say, I want to make $20,000 a month or $50,000 a month or $100,000 a month or $1 million billion, right? I want this, I want that, I want my dream house. I want to call in the partner that resonates with me. I want to lose, 50 pounds. I want my health to heal, all these things. When we say these things to the world, what the world says to us in return is, we have got your back, but listen, you have been carrying around a lot of things with you. And I call this concept your energetic bag of rocks. Okay. The world says, we heard you, girl. Dude, we heard you say, we heard you make your proclamation. We saw you writing your things down in your journal, doing your manifestation work, doing all the things like crafting your vision board on Pinterest of, your dream house. And I have had experiences with clients where we sat down in a session and wrote out finely tuned points of things that somebody wanted to call in for their dream house. And then literally they did that, right? So that is possible. And I believe that that is super possible. But before you get to that place, you have to go through and you have to clear out the things that do not resonate, because it's like literally like cleaning house. The more you can fine tune your energetic baggage, the more you can forgive the version of you where, with hindsight, you might have done something differently yesterday, 6 months ago, 5 years ago, when you were a kid, whatever the thing is. Forgiving yourself, really releasing those patterns of shame, of judgment, of pain, of stress, of disassociation, of fear. The things that truly just don't resonate with you, because as you anchor into your truth, and as you call home those things that you have always known, I call them the whispers of your heart, right? Whatever it is that you want to create in this life, whether it's a thriving business, I've always had a really big dream. Since I was a kid, I have wanted to have a foundation and be a philanthropist. I also have deeply wanted to do this, right? To work, to help people around the world to really learn how to create your dreams, create money, create magic, create miracles, sit in that vibration of profound possibility. Because I also really believe that as a culture, that in order for us as a planet to move into something better for each of you, right? Which if you found me, you are one of the people that I'm talking about, but for people of good hearts and minds who really want to restore justice, who want to help to create systems, all systems across the world, spiritual systems, political systems, housing, food, any culture, art, beauty, love, magic, right? None of the systems that we have at this point are really in tune with that sense of stewardship, with that sense of justice, of cosmic order, of love. And each of you, if you're here, if you're listening to me, then in some really big or small or simultaneously big and small ways, you are someone who was really born to lead now, to lead yourself, and through your leadership, to activate new blueprints of possibility for this planet and for all life everywhere. Just no big deal, just casual. Right? But if you found your way to me, then you found your way to me for a reason, because my work is not for everyone, right? I would say that the other thing about me is that one of my mentors used to call me the witch. What was it? The witch of the sages, the witch for the sages. Someone recently called me the teacher of the teachers, right? I am meant to be here to be the healer, the clearer, the person who really is the guide for you as someone who has a very high level of spiritual intellect, spiritual curiosity, emotional intelligence, new earth leadership, something really big. If you have found your way to me, it means that those whispers of your heart that you've always heard, these grandiose ideas, that whatever it is, the thing about you, whatever those things are that have percolated, that have been bubbling, often from the time we were children, right? About our dreams, about what we want to do. You were born to not just create that for yourself, but to in some way, in a way unique to you, that you were born to literally create a roadmap of possibility for the collective. It's not that we would ever infringe on anyone's free will, but the more that we extract ourselves from these systems of garbage, right? From these complex, painful, hard systems that are what we're essentially moving out of, right? What this time was destined to be, which was a time of massive individual and collective recalibration. That the more that we can do that in our own life, and we dismantle these systems, right? We extract ourselves from these systems that are not moving in tune with cosmic order, with cosmic justice, with the truth of who each of us is, which is that we are divine children from God. And if God doesn't, if that's like not your word, then you can interchange it with whatever lights you up. Source, creator. It's not about, it's about the energy. It's about the feeling, right? So it's really, so this is the thing. And I have like a lot of notes here. I'm going to try to get through everything like in an organized fashion, but it's really what I was being shown. So last summer, during last summer's Lionsgate, I rolled out a little bit that it was a joke. It was obviously a joke. It was called, "Here's Why You're All Wrong." And it was essentially a call to action to remind everybody, right? Again, a joke. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. It's not the thing. But what I was really called, what that was about, the idea behind it was a real call to action to extract yourself from the trap of binary thinking. When you look around the quote unquote options that our culture gives us, right? Everything is so, it's like this or that, one or the other, red or blue, gay or straight, Republican or Democrat, this or that. It's like we're always being shown that there are but two choices. You have to choose one or the other. And these are basically traps. These are tricks. This is gobbledygook and nonsense. And you could sub in so many different binary choices that we are told by the matrix, or whatever we want to call it, right? The current systems, which benefit from all of us moving in a way that is out of sync with that divine truth. Okay, so here's the thing. It is time to extract yourself from those systems. It is time to get brave. Right? And I'm recording this on Lionsgate, again, the energy of like courage, the like powerful courage, the courage of a lion. I saw this gorgeous image of a lion last week. It was this, I'll drop it I'll find the image and I'll drop it in the Facebook group so you guys can all see it if you didn't see it on my Instagram story. But it was this like essentially just massive glowing lion that had wings. And that's the kind of courage and strength that we're all being called to embody. You have a way that is uniquely yours. A sacred song, a sacred voice, a sacred vision, which is different from anything that anyone else was born to do. And yet maybe, some of us might have work that's, similar to somebody else, but at the end of the day, the frequency that you were born to hold, the roadmap of possibility that you were born to birth from your heart into 3D is something so unique to you that if you're not doing it, if you're not singing your sacred song, if you're not leaning all the way into those whispers of your own heart, if you're not respecting your intuition, if you're not showing up for yourself and like letting yourself, leading yourself in a way where you are meeting yourself in a place of powerful forgiveness and powerful action, right? Because this is the thing, is we want to get super energetically aligned. We want to clear that bag of rocks so that we are in our finest, most beautifully tuned, highest timeline. And that requires us, right, to go in and potentially do some deep cleaning. And some of us, have like moved our own needle, and maybe you have some deep cleaning you need to do. Maybe you're further along in the process and you're at a point where you're just doing more of the fine-tuned, right? And what's cool is wherever you are in the process, my work meets you in that place. And what's cool is when I work with you, I see, like I was talking at the beginning about what your soul was created to do. And I can see the gifts that you've carried through this and all lifetimes. And then I see all of that energetic baggage, the stuff from this and all lifetimes that you've been, from your ancestral inheritance, the things that are making it hard for you to really embody all of those gifts. And I use my technique, right? My finger wands, my voice, the way that I uniquely navigate the Akashic records, channel, all of this all of the ways that I really like synthesize. And it's like going in with with a laser, clearing things. And when that happens for people, beauty unfolds, because the more you can lighten your load, again, the more room you have to sit in the energy of powerful transformation. And so this is the other thing, right? Is that a part of leaning into all of this potential that every one of us has now is that it does require us to continue to rise to meet ourselves. I have this beautiful butterfly that I have definitely brought onto past lives. I was talking about this on the embodied leadership call earlier, but right, we know this about butterflies. Butterflies are so beautiful. I saw a swallowtail butterfly last week. It was enchanting. I love it every fall when the monarchs migrate, right? I'm often like on the eastern seaboard around the time that they migrate down. I don't know if you guys know this, but monarchs migrate every year down to the same place in Mexico. It's so surreal. If you don't know this, like look up monarch migration, and you'll like basically see a tree with like a million billion butterflies. It's so wild, right? The world moves in some really beautiful ways that from a human perspective, we can forget. So a couple of things about the energy right now, right? If you are in the process right now of regrouping, of recalibrating, which to be clear, I would say everyone alive is going through that, whether whether you're at the process where you've whittled down your stuff to have it be as light as possible, but there's still a little bit more, because the truth is, in human form, while we are still here in human form, things are not ever necessarily going to be perfect. What the goal is to be able to sit in the vibration of self-trust, of inner clarity, of inner peace, so that no matter what is happening around you, you are so fully fortified. It doesn't mean that, you're not going to have moments where you freak out or you get scared or, things are kind of like nerve-wracking, right? That's not it. But the more you align yourself in the truth of who you are, the more you lean into your resources right now, your spiritual practice, your mentors, your guides, the more you lean into the things that make you feel better, soothe your soul, the more any of us can do that right now, the easier things will feel, because it's wacky times out there. I mean, it's really right. We are witnessing a global transformation. We signed up for it. We wanted to be here for this, because this is probably the most exciting time to possibly be alive. I think it was Dolores Cannon used to say that, like, she would see these images of like literal millions of souls lining up to be like, I want to go to Earth now, right? And it can feel to be here during this thing that we are all living through. And then you get here, right? And you're like, well, I had a real plan, apparently, in spirit. I had a lot of bravado. I put a lot on my plate. It's a little more challenging. I say to my guides all the time, I'm like, being a human it's intense. It's a lot. We forget so much. And as someone who has communicated again with my guides since I have memories, who is shown every day, every single day, I mean, the things that I see for my clients that come true over and over and over again, for friends, for family, for myself, I literally see evidence that all of this metaphysical stuff is real multiple times every day. And I have since I have memories. And I still have days where I wake up and I'm like, oh my gosh, does any of this even make any sense? Am I a total wackadoo? Right. And I share this because I think a lot of times, right, on the journey, we wonder if things are for us. When we start to feel like things are not working, we can get into, position or a way where we're like, oh my God, I said that this was the thing about me, that I was no longer going to do X, Y, and Z, or that I was going to change, and then I was going to create this thing or do this thing. And then all of a sudden, everything is just like so messy. And let me bring back my butterfly, right? Butterflies and moths start off as caterpillars. They literally dissolve into goo to become the butterflies that we all know and love. So what if things feel complex right now, if you could just remind yourself that at the end of the day, that every single thing that happens within for you. If things feel a little bit messy, ask your guides for help. Say a prayer. I pray all the time. All the time. I mean, I basically have constant prayer and constant energy work on myself, on my cats, on my field, on my business. I'm always in a state of communication to just keep things moving as gracefully as possible, as seamlessly as possible. So this is a time this month and every month as we move through the end of this year and into 2024, really using your resources and giving yourself a level of permission to do things that do not make sense, but that in your heart you are meant to do. Because that's part of what we are transmuting as a culture right now, is the energy of, I need to look outside myself to try to find an answer. The answers lie within you. Powerful, right? The best coach, the best mentor, the best spiritual advisor or guide is someone who's going to help you to be able to see what you always know to be true. And I think that's one of the coolest parts about my job, is the number of times where I will reflect something back to someone over and over and over again. And oftentimes people will say, how did you even know that? I've literally never told anybody that. But it's because I can see your soul. And it's beautiful. What a powerful gift, right? But these things that are true about us, it's really time that those things about you that make you so special and so unique, that you find a way to be able to rise to the occasion as much as possible and integrate the intuitive nudges that you have been getting, the things that you have been being shown for potentially decades, years. It's time to really lean into your spiritual gifts and be aware of the fact that your spiritual gifts, however they come through, right? I have all the different ways that spirit, channels through me. You'll have ways that are totally unique to you. And whatever those things are, it's really time to stop judging yourself. And no matter what society, no matter what religion or politics or any systems, right? Maybe our family, our part, no matter how much the people around us might be like, that woo-woo stuff is like some hocus pocus nonsense. We need to just start saying, you know what? Fair enough. You get to have your opinion. It doesn't need to necessarily align with my truth. And I, as someone who is being very called to rise into something different and to create, again, new roadmaps of possibility for myself, for my family, for the legacy that I was born to build on this planet, that I am going to move in a way where I let my freak flag fly. You guys know I love that saying so much. I love to quote that movie. I am corny. I think we all, if you know me, you know this is deeply true. I'm like a human Care Bear in some ways. I love rom-coms. Love that scene from the movie The Family Stone, which is the first time I ever heard the words freak flag, where Sarah Jessica Parker's character is trying to basically like role play being like hyper normal. And her love interest is like, You are so weird and you deny it. Like, just let your freak flag fly. It is time to let your freak flag fly, my sacred sweet friend. And if you are listening to me today, tomorrow, or ever, this is an invitation to you to be so courageous, to love yourself completely. If you followed my work for a long time, you know, I've just said that I was a human care bear, but when I really tap into just the depth of power in this space, all of you, every one of you who will ever listen to this, right? I just got literally emotional because it's big stuff. We came here to change the world, to create what I have often called a revolution of love, which is also the name of my next live healing event that I'm going to be doing at the end of August or the beginning of September. It's time for a revolution of love, right? Love that is grounded in strength, embodied wisdom, leadership, bravery, courage. It is time to come out of whatever, you know, sort of like shrouds of mystery, secrecy. It doesn't mean you have to tell everybody everything, right? You still get to have some secrets, but whatever the thing is that you're being called to actively engage with, to really transform, because we always know what those things are, no matter how much we deny them, right? We know, you know, I know. And this is the thing, okay? So here we go to the next big point, is that whatever you are not facing goes from being a subtle knock on the part of your guides, the universe, to be like, hey friend, you know, you've got this thing in your bag of rocks that it's really time to just like transmute and let go. When you do not face those things, what goes from being a subtle knock becomes more like a battering ram, right? So the invitation again that I am sharing with you as I channel this, as the order of divine light is like running through me in such a powerful and profound way, is to meet yourself in that place where you say, all right, I'm going to have to like process some like old grief, some things that happened when I was a child, some stuff that I know is kicking around from past lives, right? It is time to meet all of that stuff head on, to make room. Because the more you clear all of that noise, the more you hear with crystal clarity your guides, your ancestors, your higher self. And here we go. We have our next visual. Shocking no one. One of my favorite things about being in elementary school was when we would do show and tell. I love material objects. I love crystals. I love art. I have so many different things here with me, you guys. I have tons. But this gorgeous piece of art represents, I saw this pop up in my IG story last summer, and the artist who made it, I saw it pop up, and I was like, oh, you guys, to my guides, I was like, you always tell me that's what I do for people, is that I help everyone be able to see with the eyes of their heart. That is for me, right? So like, it's time to deep clean all the stuff, let go of those energetic misalignments. Keep your eyes on the prize and become the clearest channel of your own wisdom, of your own desires, of your own dreams, of your own authenticity, of your own experience possible. That's what this month is about. That's what I see moving forward. And I have said this a lot, but I'm going to say it again because I think it is just like a big theme of this month, is that your spiritual gifts are the greatest currency that you possess right now. That wisdom of activating your relationship, your sacred channel, Getting really clear with yourself about what matters, what are your values, what lights you up. It doesn't mean that everything needs to change immediately, right? In human form, we can be like, it can feel like nothing is working when really the world is just like clearing things in our path to get to that thing that we prayed for. And also remembering that with every prayer that we make, setting an intention. And I've done this for decades because, like I said, I've had a very robust prayer and meditation, breathwork practice that I have engaged with for decades at this point. I first learned how to meditate when I was 17, and I'm 44 now. So it's been a long time. And it's really, really, really time to just lean into all of your resources and allow your spiritual gifts to be such a powerful guide. I've said this a lot too, but I love the like languaging of it. You are your rainy day fund. There is no investment that I have ever made in anything outside of myself that has had a higher return on investment when I have taken big, oftentimes very big risks. When I started my business, you guys have, many of you have heard me tell this story. When I started my business in 2020, which I have been being shown for decades that I would someday figure out what the business was, what the thing was that I would like invent or create. And I woke up one day in 2020 and I could like literally feel that the energy had shifted and the planet was ready for what I was about to lay down. I was also disabled by chronic nerve pain at the time. And I don't share that to victimize myself. I share that to show you what's possible and to also just be real about the fact that I woke up, it was like March 13th or 14th of 2020. I woke up, I was like, oh, this thing I've been waiting for my whole life, the Great Awakening, it is on in an even bigger way than it ever has been before. I could literally feel the wind had changed, right? And we were just about to go through all of that stuff that unfolded in 2020 at that point. And the other thing is I knew that I was meant to start my business. At the time, I was disabled by chronic nerve pain and I had an active application pending for disability. And the reason I'm laughing is because I was like to my guides, I was like, are we having the same conversation? Because I do not feel like somebody who is capable right now of starting a business, right? My life did not seem like I was in a place to be like courageously embarking on the journey of entrepreneurship, which like for everyone in the audience who is an entrepreneur, thank God that I had worked for like a lot of small businesses in the years leading up to me starting this, because I had gotten kind of a crash course, like an on-the-job MBA by working for a lot of different small businesses. I had also worked for Fidelity Investments as a facilitator in their workplace and personal investment division. And so I had a lot, and I come from a family of entrepreneurs. So I had a lot of like knowledge, acumen that had to do with business. But in terms of actually starting one's own business, I mean, it is a journey and a half, and it has not always been easy. And so this brings me to the next thing that I was guided to share. Okay. And this is no judgment. This is literally just like, I am here to help to be a guide, a form of inspiration, a form of transformation. But I hear a lot of people in the spiritual community say things about full-bodied yeses. And like, yes, okay, like we want everyone to be feeling so good, so embodied, so safe in your body. And as someone who has been called over and over and over again, literally since the day I was born in this human body, and like in every life I've lived leading up to now, to embark on a bold level of self-trust, to make decisions based on where I want to be in the future, even if in the now moment things didn't make perfect sense, right? I know that yes, the concept of a full-bodied yes is beautiful, and we like definitely want to aim for that. And sometimes when we're being called to live our truth, it can be pretty scary, right? And I think that there is an idea that I often see in like the spiritual or manifestation and entrepreneurial space where like these things kind of start to like bleed into each other, right? Where, you know, people can feel like because something isn't working, that it means something about them. You know, maybe like your business isn't going exactly how you want it to be, or your personal life, your relationships, whatever the things are, right? And we can just be like, oh, you know, I started working on my creation process. I've been praying or meditating every day. Like nothing's changing, nothing's changing. Blah, 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 blah. Like we can have all these stories. And what I am inviting you to do is to just remember that sometimes, and by sometimes I mean often, right? It can take time for things to unfold in 3D. Wherever you are in the journey of self-development, of self-empowerment, of self-discovery, of reclaiming your spiritual gifts, even if it feels like things are not working perfectly right now, I just encourage you to keep showing up for yourself today, tomorrow, and always in ways that are brave and courageous. So I've been talking a lot, some of that at the beginning for those of you who have been with me here from the beginning. Some of it, as we know, was just was on mute, but I'm going to wrap it up. But I'm going to do, before I wrap it up, I want to invite you to jump into Cosmic Alchemy Academy, which starts in a couple of weeks. That is one of the ways that I am able to, that I was literally born to be a guide. And there are all kinds of very gifted spiritual teachers alive on planet Earth right now. But if you are here with me, listening to this now or ever, it is because you were being essentially called home, right? So I have Cosmic Alchemy Academy, which starts in a couple of weeks. Today is 8/8 of 2023. It is so much fun. It's a 4-month journey. Everyone who has jumped into it is amazing. It's really it's a powerful journey of self-discovery and transformation. And what I will say about it is that everyone who has ever gone through it has just transformed in some ways that are so powerful, that are so beautiful. A lot of the people who are alumni or graduates have started their own businesses, started actively channeling light language, communicating with source, uncovered all kinds of like really beautiful psychic gifts, mediumship potential. It's like really wild to see the things that come through. Oftentimes people who go through this then realize, right, they like activate these next level versions of their psychic spiritual magic gifts, whatever we want to call it, the way you channel, right? The way that you uniquely engage with the energy of the divine. And often then synthesize it into some really cool entrepreneurial endeavors. People make more money, their health changes, the way that you just show up for yourself just really, you know, I don't know how you'll change, but what I can say is that if you were here and listening to this, it would be my absolute honor to have you join us. One of my cats is thinking about making an appearance here. No, you're not going to do it. He was thinking about it. I thought maybe since it was the Lion's Gate, he would. Oh, here. Okay. So anyway, Cosmic Alchemy Academy, it is on it's on a discount right now in honor of Lions Gate through Friday. So it's $888 off. I'll drop the link in the comments. And this is the last time that I am going to be teaching this curriculum live, all live. Going forward after this round of it, it's going to become more of a hybrid between a self-paced digital program, and there will likely be like a couple of Q&A calls that are integrated, but this round of it is the last time I'm going to be teaching this curriculum all live. So it's incredible. I mean, this is for you if you identify with, you know, any sense of like being a channel of someone who you've always suspected that you were born to be a really powerful and profound new earth leader, and to use your intuition to really cultivate your spiritual gifts. This container is not like anything else that I have ever seen in literal decades of investing. Oh, hi, you. Of investing in myself, of doing all kinds of different, you know, studying all kinds of different metaphysical things, just like, I love to learn. I'm like an information sponge. Oh, sorry. My little tiny house panther here, giving us a little bit of the cat medicine here on the Lion's Gate, and he did it so secretly. I don't know if you guys even ever saw him. So anyhow, please jump into Cosmic Alchemy. Like I said, this is the last time I'm going to be teaching the entire curriculum live. We start in a few weeks. We run for 4 months. There is an option to be able to upgrade so that you can do 1 call per month with me during the duration. I also have my 6 to 12 month wealth journey where I activate you and anchor you into the new earth codes of money and abundance, and it is called Gold Standard. It is so much fun. So Gold Standard is also an option. I also have a few spots on my calendar right now for one-on-one, which is a 9 to 18 month journey of self-discovery and transformation. Anyway, lots of different ways, but I would really encourage you, if you have ever considered working with me, Cosmic Alchemy is going to be so much fun. And it's also going to be the prerequisite for my certification, which I'm launching later this year. So if you have ever, if you were an alum of Cosmic Alchemy, you're good, you've got it. And if you are listening to me and thinking, I don't know what that wacky woman is doing, but I want to be part of it, I want to learn how to do what she does, then Cosmic Alchemy is the point from which you will be able to jump into my light language certification when it goes live in later this year. So anyway, I love you so much. Find me in all the places, Instagram at cwitchery, my website, weareheretoremember.com. I love you enormously. Take care, my sweet friend. Remember to love yourself in all the ways, always. Bye.